Okay, so I've just pushed it on live, and if you could make me the co-host, please. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. I'll be here, Ray.
All right, thanks. Hey, good afternoon. Hi, Pam.
Hello.
How
Hi.
you doing?
Good.
Good
thanks.
afternoon.
Good to see you. Yeah. Let's see, is Jean there?
Yes.
Hi, Jean. How are you?
Okay. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a nice sunny day in North Carolina, so nothing to complain about.
Well, that's good. It's cloudy here,
Uh-oh, where are you?
the Chicago area.
Chicago. Okay. Hey, Carol. Oh, you're still muted. There you go.
Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Good.
Welcome. Okay. Let's see who else coming. Hi, Emily. Always good to see you.
Hi, Wade. Good afternoon for Chicago, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon.
Mhm.
Let's see. Patty, you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are
Hey.
you today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thanks, Patty. How about you?
Doing great, thank you.
Yeah. Gordon, how are you? Oh, there you are. Good to see you again, Gordon.
Hi, thank you, Wade. Good to be here.
Oops. Sorry.
All right, let's see. Oh, there's Patty's video is working. Hey, Patty. Well, and Jean's got her phone working. Hi, Jean. Good. Let's hope everybody's doing well. There's Ellen coming in. Ellen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Oh, there you are. Okay, good to hear you.
Thank you.
We should have a few more people joining us, so we're going to hold off a couple of minutes getting started, but I'm going to go ahead and start getting things set up and ready so we can start in another minute or two. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll start getting things organized. All righty, so you should be able to see my screen. And if pictures are blocking part of the screen, if you can't see the whole screen over here, let me know so that we can take care of that. All right. And I'm going to move your pictures over to my other monitor over here so I can see you. So when I'm looking over here, I'm not looking out the window, even though it is a beautiful day out there. I'm looking at your pictures. All right, there you are. And I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. And we'll probably end up muting several times during the course of the class. We're all at home, things happen. Point being to just be sure to check and see if you're muted before you ask a question or make a comment. If you're muted, just go ahead and unmute and ask away. You don't need to raise your hand or anything. Just unmute and ask a question or make a comment at any point. Always welcome to hear your comments and questions. I'm going to also open up the chat as well. So if anyone is having trouble with their microphone, you can reach us in the chat. And Kim from our TA team is here to help monitor the chat and manage the class. Kim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your help. All right, so that is now open. So I think we are pretty close to ready. Let's see, anybody else has come in? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully we'll have another person or two join us midstream, but it's a big topic. I usually take the first 4 to 5 minutes of class to give a chance for everybody to get here from their other class and get their technology working, but I think we're pretty much at that point. So let's get going. This is Google Docs Basics. So I do want to welcome you all to the class. Hope you enjoy it. My name is Wade Yarber, and I'll be the guide for the class today. Briefly about me, I'm from a small town in Tennessee called Mason, Tennessee. It's just about 30 miles outside of Memphis, a very small town. I went to 8 years of school in a 5-room schoolhouse, two classes per room. So it's a small town. I often say I grew up in Mayberry, for anybody who knows about that program. I have a degree in psychology, and I've taught psychology off and on during my career, but most of my working career was involved in installing and in training users on hospital information systems. So I did minor in computer science, so I've always kind of been a split between technology and psychology as my two loves. And what I love about teaching at Get Set Up, though, is that I get to teach people like you that are here because you're interested in the topic, not because your employer made you take the class. And that's what we try to do at Get Set Up. We do try to create an environment where you can take classes you're interested in, along with other people that are interested in that same topic. You can hear each other's questions, communicate with each other, communicate with the guide. So we try to create a nice, safe, comfortable environment for interacting. The session is being recorded, and you can request a copy of that recording after the class by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. And I think, yes, Kim has put that in the chat as well. So if you don't have that email address in your email contacts, go ahead and copy that and paste it into your email. There's lots of scenarios when you would want to use this. In fact, this is your one-stop shopping for contacting Get Set Up. So if you got a question, a comment, a complaint, send it to help@getsetup.io. It'll get routed to the right person. We're also live streaming the class today, so I do want to welcome anyone joining us via live stream. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy the class as well. But I do want to stress that the only way to get that full Get Set Up experience where you interact with the other learners and ask questions of the guide is to go to our website and register for the classes. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any of the products we train. We are purely trainers. So let's take a look at the objectives for today. So this is a basics class, which means the assumption is that you have not used it before or have used it minimally. So we'll start from scratch. We do assume that you have at least some passing familiarity with Word, Microsoft Word. So we will draw a number of comparisons between Google Docs and Microsoft Word and show how they work together, because they do work together fairly nicely. We'll talk about how to create a new doc and how to start a doc from a template, how to edit and format a document, and how to import and export from Word into Google Docs. A lot to cover. So let's get started. Just a little comparison of Google Docs versus Microsoft Word, especially for anyone here that has used Word and is familiar with Word. Google Docs runs as a web browser app, which means you can access it from any device that supports a browser. It'll run on any browser that you've got. So lots of flexibility about how to get to Google Docs. Word is still a program, and it has to be run under an operating system. It works on both Windows and Mac, so you can use it from the two main platforms out there, but it does run as a program as opposed to as on a browser. Google Docs is free, my favorite price. Word is part of Microsoft 365, which starts at $69.99 a year, but you get a lot for that $69.99. You get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, OneDrive with 1 terabyte of data. That's 1,000 gigabytes. So it's a pretty good deal for $70 a year, but there is a cost, whereas Google Docs is free. The other consideration is that Microsoft Word does have features that Google Doc does not. Word has been around a long time. They've had a lot of time to develop functions and features. So there are some things that Word will do that Google Docs doesn't. However, I've never encountered a problem where it's something that I couldn't deal with in Google Docs. If more apt than not, it would be someone at a corporate position that might run into problems. For personal use, Google Docs, I think, is fine for most people. Okay. And again, if you have questions, I'm going through this background material fairly quickly. Please do ask questions, make comments if you have them. So how do I get access to Google Docs? Well, you have to have a Google account, and I'll show you how to do that if you don't have one. I'll show you where to do it. And then once you've got your Google account, there are two different versions of Google Docs. There is the browser version, which is what I was talking about previously. That is the primary version. That's what most people use. That is the fully functioning version of Google Docs. You can also download it to your smartphone or tablet as an app. Just go to your app store and download it. But that app version does not have the full functionality you get from the browser. There's some things you can only do with the browser version. And the look and feel is slightly different, so it's going to be very hard to follow along from that app version if that's where you are. In fact, if you don't have a browser, it'd probably be easier just to watch my screen and see what I'm doing, and then try it again later when you get to a browser. All right, so I'm going to shrink this down and open a separate browser. So I can have a Google browser open and my slides over here. This I know is probably hard to see. This is more a cheat sheet for me than anything else. So I'll be reading this to you if you can't quite see that. But if you don't have a Google account already, this is where you would start, www.google.com. And if you don't have an account, there would be a control down here that says sign up or something to that effect. And you can sign up for your account very easy and free. Once you have an account, when you come to google.com, it would say sign in. And once you've signed in with your username and password that you use when you set up your account, your screen would look like this. You would have up in the upper right-hand corner your Google account information. You can have more than one Google account. I've got my personal account and my work account. I'm going to be using my personal account today. And this is called the waffle, since it looks a little bit like a round waffle. It's really the Google Apps icon. When you click here, it will show you all the different apps that come with your Google account. We do have a class called Introduction to Google Apps, where we go over all these different apps, not in much detail, obviously, but explain sort of what they are. For today, since we're doing Google Docs, we're going to just click on this one and be pretty much concerned with Google Docs. I click here, it will take me to the Google Docs homepage. So let me stop there and just check in and see if everybody is with me. Any questions so far? Okay. The homepage, and again, this is the Google Docs homepage, is broken into two sections. The top section, start a new document. And then the lower section is basically all the documents that you have access to that you can work on. If you're new, there won't be anything down here. So we're going to start at the top. Two ways to start a document. You can start with a blank document, and I'll just click that briefly to show you what it says. It is just a blank document where you can start working on whatever you're going to do. I'm going to click Docs Home. This will take me back to the home page where we just were. The other way to start is with a template. Most of you have probably used templates before, but I'll go over these briefly if you haven't. Templates are pre-formatted documents, which are handy if it's maybe an area you haven't worked in for a while, or you just want some ideas about how to format the document you're trying to create. There's a few here on the front page, but if you click the template gallery, it'll take you into a long list of templates. So for example, if you need to do a resume, it's been a long time since you've done your last resume. There are 5 different formats. So you can look at the different formats, find one that you would like to use. There's lots of different formats for letters. There's 5 different formats for letters. Again, if you can't remember exactly how to format them, they're set up. Lots of work-related templates, business-related templates, legal documents, etc. You can scroll through that later and look at the different types of templates. I can pick one from here, or I can go back, hitting the back arrow. I'm going to open the letter template just as an example. So let's say I'm going to do a letter, and it's been a while, so I want to use the template. When I click on the template, it copies the contents of the template, creates a new document. So I'm not any longer in the template. I'm in a Google Doc that was created from that template. The name of the doc is the same as the name of the template. So I recommend the first thing you do is to change that title. For letters, I usually put a letter to who I'm sending it to. Letter to John Smith. And then here's my template. So it has appropriate font setup. It has appropriate spacing, highlighting, those sorts of things. All you would do is start replacing the boilerplate text with your name and your information and complete the template. Questions? Okay, I'm going to hit home to go back home. I'm not going to hit save. If you look around, there is no save to hit. Google always saves everything automatically, so you don't have to remember to do it. So I'm just going to click home. And let me just make one thing really quick. And here's that document we just created, letter to John Smith, 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time, created by me. Now let's talk about the bottom section briefly. Initially, you're only going to have 2 or 3. It's not a big deal, but over time, you're going to get a lot of things down here. So you probably need some help managing this list of documents. And Google gives you a couple of ways to manage that list as it starts to grow. You can filter that list. Right now, it's showing everything owned by anyone. I can filter it and say, just show me stuff that I own, documents that I created myself. So it now filters those. This word me over here means that it was created by me. I own it. This little icon means it's a shared document. So I own it, but I've shared this with somebody else. So there's someone else that can access this and edit this document. We're going to go over that in more detail later in class as well, showing you how you can share a document with someone else. I could also filter it by not owned by me, meaning someone else owned it. They've shared it with me. I can do whatever they've given me the privilege to do. So like this is owned by Takora. She shared it with me. I can click on it and open it. And I can tell from here that she's given me view only privileges. So I can see this. I can read it. I can even come up here under file and say make a copy. So I can make a copy of my own with a different name that I own, but I can't edit her version. I can request edit access. So if I do this, it'll send her a request saying, Wade would like to edit your document. It's up to her whether she wants me to do that or not. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but that's basically sharing. Everything is stored in Google Drive, which is a cloud storage system. I'm gonna go back home. So I can filter. I'm going to turn this for now. I'm going to set this back to owned by anyone. I can also sort this list. So this filters, I can sort it over here where it has A through Z. Right now it's sorted by last opened by me, and this tells me how it's sorted. I can sort it by last modified by me, last modified by anyone if I'm showing documents that are owned by someone else that are shared with me. I can sort it by title if I just want to see it by title. I usually sort mine by last opened by me, so I'm going to put it back to that sequence. Questions?
Wade, I didn't see an icon for a delete button.
Okay, good question. Over here to the right, you'll notice a triple dot. Anytime you see a triple dot, click on it. It means there's something else. And if I click on that triple dot, I've got, in this case, I've got two options. I can remove the document or I can open it in a new tab. Let me open it in a new tab. Just to show what that does, it does just what the name says. It opened it in a separate tab in my browser. Here's my home page where I was, and here's that document in a separate tab. Sometimes it's handy to have multiple documents open at the same time. Maybe I want to copy this paragraph out of this one and put it into an email I'm sending to somebody or in another document I'm creating. You know, that's the main reason I open things in separate tabs. A lot of people don't want to have a bunch of stuff open. It looks messy. You've got the option. I'm going to close this. I'm going to pick a different one. And this one, I only had two options because I don't own this. I can't rename it. That's the other option. If I click one that I own, I now have this option of renaming it. I don't have edit privileges for that document, so I can't rename it either. This one I can rename, remove, or open it in a new tab.
Hi, Wade.
Uh-huh.
This is Emily. On my computer, this page is not the same like yours. Yours is like one line. Mine is the whole page. How did I get a different format like that? You know, like the first one, you have a meditation paper, and I have a page like that instead of a one line.
Do you have something that looks like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So how do I change to your format?
Right here,
Okay.
you can switch between list view and grid view. Grid view shows you the first page of the document,
Okay.
which sometimes is handy if you know what it looks like, but you're not sure what the name is. So you can
Okay.
kind of flip through it. I personally never used the grid view and forgot it was even there. But that's what that is. Click it again and it'll go to the list view like what I
Okay.
use.
Thank you. That helps.
Sure.
Mhm.
Great. There's one last icon we didn't talk about, which is an important one, and that's this one over here. And again, any of these icons, if you hover over it, just put the cursor over the top of it, it will tell you what they are, what they do. This one says Open File Picker, which isn't extremely explanatory. So let me explain a little more what this is. What is down here are either things I've created or that's things someone else created and shared with me. So they're documents I have access to. But there may be another document on my computer that I want to get to, or in my Google Drive. Maybe it was in an email that I downloaded it, or I pulled it off the internet and stored it on my computer. But I've never opened it, so it's not in this list. It wouldn't be here until I open it. So this lets me go out and get documents from somewhere else. When I click on it, it defaults to Google Drive. It's Google, so it assumes you're going to be using Google primarily. So if I downloaded it and put it in my Google Drive, it would be out here and I could just click on it and open this document. But for today, what I want to do from here is it lets me go outside of Google. Anytime you see the word upload in Google, it means pull something in from your device. And what I want to do is get a Word document and bring it in to Google to show you that you can do that. So I'm going to click upload. And this says select a file from your device. So I'm going to not go to Google Drive. I want to go to my device. If you're on Windows, it'll take you to File Explorer. If you're on a Mac, it'll take you to Mac Finder. And you can go and pull any document that's either on your device, or if you're using cloud drives, you can pull it from your cloud drive. This is OneDrive, which is Microsoft's version of Google Drive. And the document I want is in here, several layers down. I want to grab this syllabus from a class that I taught last year. And you can see this is a Word document. So I'm going to click this and make a copy of it and pull it in. So it's not going to touch this file sitting out here on OneDrive. It's just going to copy it, just like if it was a template. I can double click it, or I can click and open. Both do the same thing. And you can see it's uploading it into Google Drive, and then it's converting it. And now here's that document now converted to a Google Doc instead of a Word doc. I can go in and edit this now. So maybe I'm going to set this up for fall classes. So I've changed to be fall of 2021. So the fact that it was originally a Word document doesn't make any difference. However, if you remember, I said there's some things that Word does that Google doesn't, or it may be it's there, but it doesn't translate easily. You see down here, it's got a checkbox for the days of the week when the class is being taught. But, and if I was in Word, I could just click on this and it would X or un-X what's in the box. That doesn't translate over. However, it's not really a huge problem. I could just delete this and type in Tuesdays and Thursdays if that's when it's going to be. It works. Maybe not quite as slick, but it works. Everything else converted clean, but if you convert something, you need to check it and make sure it converted clean. If there's boxes, make sure you can type into the box, which I still can. I have to tweak it a little bit. Delete it where it says click here to enter and just put the text in there. Questions? And this is a very complex document. This one uses lots and lots of features. And with that one exception, that's the only one that just did not work at all. I can change the name up here as well if I want to. But again, I don't have to save. I can just hit Docs Home. And I go back to my Docs Home. Here's that document that I just imported from Word, now here as a Google Doc.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Anita.
Sometimes I don't have Microsoft Word loaded on my laptop. Sometimes people send me Word documents. The way I've been doing it is I then send it to my Gmail account and then I open it. Is that the best way?
You're opening it as a Google Doc. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
Yep. You can do it. That works. You just need to get it someplace where you can access it. You can either download it to your drive on your device, or you can. But it just needs to be someplace you can access it. It can be down in your downloads on your computer. It can be in a cloud drive. If you use Dropbox, you can put it in your Dropbox. Anything, is it a Windows computer you're using?
Yes, 10. Windows
Okay,
10.
so basically,
And
any
I
place.
basically use help.
So anything you can get to with this File Explorer down here, and it's on my other window. Let me see if I can grab it and bring it over here. Any place I can get to with File Explorer, I can open it with Google using that feature I just showed you. So if it was in my Dropbox, I could go get it out of Dropbox. If it's in OneDrive, if it was in my iCloud drive, which is Apple's cloud storage, or just on my device itself, if it was on a thumb drive, I could even pull it off of a thumb drive that's on my computer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Trying to get to my thumb drive. It's down here. Oh, it's turned off. It's not, I pulled it out. Okay. Yep, good question. Get this out of the way. All right, we're gonna do it this way.
Wade, can you set up tables using Google Docs?
Yes, we'll talk about that. Remind me when we get into looking at the documents, but you can set up a table. Yeah, let's move on over, catch up on a couple of. So let's. I'm going to show you a couple of other things here. I'm going to open a letter. I'm going to open this one, open a document. So this is the menu toolbar, it's called. If you're a Microsoft person, it's called a ribbon in Microsoft land. It serves the same purpose. It's not quite as busy and complex as the ribbon is in Microsoft. A lot of people find this interface easier to use if you're a novice. It works the same basic way. These are the tabs that have all the commands. These are all your edit commands, your view commands, your insert commands, your formatting commands. What I like is it has a very extensive shortcut bar that Microsoft doesn't have. And I've got a triple dot over here. I said anytime you see a triple dot, click it because my shortcut bar extends beyond what I'm showing. That's partially because I've got my window narrow so I can see my cheat sheet. If you had it full size, then you could see everything in that shortcut bar. I'm going to click on the file and show you a couple of things, and then we're going to jump into editing. I mentioned this one already, where you can make a copy. So if someone has shared something with you, but you don't have editing privileges, and you want to make a copy for yourself, or you want to make a copy for whatever reasons, you can use this. We mentioned that Google automatically saves. Google not only saves, but it versions. So if you click here, you can see version history. So I can say, see the version history. I've been editing this document for a long time, since back in November. If I want to go back and see what it looked like on December 7th, I can go back to this version when there was a lot less in there. If I want to come back to this version, I can say restore this version. It'll make it the current version. What I had immediately before that would still be in here as the version right before it. So this is the current version. So that comes in handy if you want to go back into a document and restore it from some point in the past. And the last thing I was going to mention here, we'll come back in here later and talk about some other things, but is the move to trash, which is delete. Now let's talk about editing. Luckily, editing is pretty similar to it is, but if you use Word, it's going to feel extremely similar. And even if you've just used text editing in a email for the message of an email, it's going to feel similar as well. I'm going to pull another template and work from that because I do want to get a picture because pictures do work a little different. So I downloaded another template. This is a recipe template. I'm going to give it a name. My pancake recipe. So now I've changed the name of the template, but I'm going to just show you a few things and you can ask questions, but it works like you would expect it to work. So if I don't like this color, I want to change the font color. I can just go up here and pick a different color and make it blue instead of red. If I don't like that font, I can change the font and give it a different font. This one is a bulleted list. If I want it to be a numbered list, it's up over here. The biggest challenge is memorizing where things are. So I can make that a numbered list, and then I can make it bold. You can delete, you can copy. If I want to delete, you just delete. If you want to copy it, you can copy it and paste it somewhere else. You can change, your margins. One of my favorite ones is this. This is the undo. So if you have done something you didn't mean to do, you can undo it. But I think you'll find, editing text is pretty straightforward. If you've done any type of word processing with any other tool, it's going to work very similarly. If I like this formatting, and again, Word has all these same functions. I want to copy this over here. In Word, it's a paintbrush. In Google, it's a roller. Does the same thing. I can copy that formatting and paste it over here.
Can you translate that?
What's that?
Can you translate that?
It's not a language. It's just gobbledygook. It's a template, so it's just telling you put stuff in here. So that's just nonsense text in this template.
If it wasn't a foreign language, can you use Google Translate to translate it?
Yes, it does have that in there. I haven't done that, but I know you can translate. Somebody was asking about tables. Probably not a good place to put it. Let me. So I can insert a table here, and you just say how big you want the table. Maybe I want it to be a 3x2 table, and it'll insert a table here, and then I can just put whatever I want to into the table. If you use Word, it works very much like Word does, and you can do all the formatting you want to in this as well. You can change that font back to something more reasonable and smaller. Is that whatever? Who was asking about tables? That's what you were looking for? All right. I do want to talk about pictures. Pictures are different. So let's say I don't like that picture. I'm going to get rid of that and replace it. Pictures are up here under insert as well. So insert is where you have the table. You can also insert charts and special characters and equations, etc. But I'm going to insert an image. And I've got several options here. The easiest one is to use Google Photos. It's Google. So if I want to insert a Google photo in place of that one, I can come over here and it takes me to my Google Photos. And I don't have anything that's appropriate, but I'll insert the baby birds there. So you just select the picture and say insert down at the bottom right. And it will insert the picture. You can change the size, edit the picture. Now, maybe you don't use Google Photos. Let's get rid of that. Your other option is to upload. Remember, anytime you see the word upload, it means pull a picture off of your device, upload from your computer. So I click this and it's going to take me back to File Explorer. Any place I can get with File Explorer, I can get to from here. So let's come down here. I don't have a pancake, but here's some pickles. We'll put that in there. Reasonably close facsimile.
Wow.
So that's how I can bring in a picture from my computer. My third option, if I don't like that one, I can insert image and I can go out and search the web and bring in stock images from the web. If your device has a camera, you can actually take a picture with your device, but if you got a tablet. If you search the web, I can right here, and this is a pancake recipe, so I want to find pancake pictures. And it shows me pictures of pancakes. That one looks pretty good. Pick that one, insert. And there's that picture. Let's shrink it down a little bit. It looks a little big. Okay, looks better. And now I've put in a picture from the internet. Questions? Okay. Let me
Wait,
yes.
Wait, if you can't find a template of a specific memo form that is used repeatedly, can you create a template after having done it?
Yeah,
How do you-
good question. Let me go back home for a second. We'll come back here later because I don't have to save it. It's there. And it's right here. I've done that. In fact, I have a sample here. So I started with this the template for the letter. But then what I did is put in all my stuff. So I don't have to put this stuff in every time. If I went back to that template, I'd always have to put my basic information in here. So I created Wade's letter template. So if I'm going to do a letter, I could come here. It's not a true template. It's just a doc, just like any other doc. It's not protected like a template is, but I could come into here and then do a file, make a copy. And so now this is letter to Mary Jones. So now I've kept my template. Now I've got a new document, but it's got the right, all of my information up here is correct. Then I can go in and my signature at the bottom is correct. If I put a copy of a logo or anything else, it would be in there. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think it's similar. I was thinking of a memo format that is used repeatedly, that I use repeatedly.
Yeah.
And both in terms of the setup of the title of the memo, who it's from, who it's to, the date, and copies, and the indentations and all that
Yep.
sort of stuff.
Yep. So that's the there may be another way but that's the way that I do it. I just go ahead and make one, and then I use the word template so I remember this is a template. Don't overwrite anything, or that's the one I want to keep. Let me go back to the pancake recipe. I got two other things I want to show you, and then hopefully we'll have time for a couple of other questions, but two things I promised. So I'm done with it, and I'm showing this to a friend of mine, and she says, "Oh, that's a great recipe. I love that recipe. Can you give me a copy of that?" And so I can say, "Sure, would love to do that." She says, "I don't do Google. Can you give it to me in Word format?" So I say, "Fine, that's easy." I would just come up here to File, come down to Download. Here's my download options. Luckily, one of them is Microsoft Word format. Google knows that Microsoft is the big dog in the house right now, so it plays well with Microsoft. You can also download it in ODT format or rich text format. You can create a PDF. But if I want to make a Word document from this document, I just click Microsoft Word. It gives me a couple of options. The default is to save the file, which is what I want to do. I could open it with Word and edit it from here, but that's not what I want to do. I want to save it and give it to my friend. So I'm just going to say, okay, take the default. And what it does is it downloads it. And my File Explorer is over here on my other window again. Let me bring it back over here. And here it is in my downloads. My pancake recipe, it is now in Word format. So I can then now put it on a thumb drive, give it to her, email it to her, move it into my OneDrive and share a link to it. However, I want to give her that Word document. that's how you can convert it to Word. Very simple and easy. I have another friend that's sitting there with me looking at it and say, so yeah, I like that. I want to get a copy too. But she says, I am a Google person. Can you just share that with me? So I can come up here to share. You can also do file share. Google gives you lots of different ways to do the same thing. So it's handy, but sometimes it gets a little confusing. But this is the big blue one. I'll pick that one. And when you hover over that, first it tells you the share status. Right now it's private. I'm the only person that has access to it. If I had already shared this with some other people, it would show me who has access to it. I'm going to share it. So I put who I'm going to send it to, and I'm going to make this easy. I'm going to send it to my wife. I can pick other people if I want to send it to someone else. In this case, I'm just going to pick the one person. Then I decide what I want them to be able to do. Can they only view it like the one I showed you that was shared with me, which means she could look at it, she could make a copy of it and then tweak it to make it her pancake recipe instead of my pancake recipe. You can give commenter rights where they can add comments, but they can't edit the document itself. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Or I can make them a full editor. So maybe we're going to be working together on this, and I want that person to be able to go in and edit it as well. We do have another class that's called Sharing and Collaborating with Google Tools that goes into an hour's whole long class showing you how this works. Sharing the file is easy. Managing all the collaboration, if you do have, let's say, 5 people editing the same document, it can get a little nuts. It goes over how you can keep track of who's making what change when, who can override whose edits, etc. Normally, unless it's a case where I really want someone to be able to edit it, I just make them a viewer and let them make their own copy. I can put in a message. And send it. She would get an email with a link to my document. It would show up in her homepage under share owned by someone else, but she could open it and make her copy. Questions?
Wait, under share and viewer, is there a tracking mechanism similar to Word?
Yes, there is. Yeah, that other class gets into that, but yeah, it'll show you who's made what changes, and then who can accept or reject the changes. But yeah, it's if you've done sharing in Word, it's very similar. A lot of people say that Google's is a little better than Word's. I haven't used it enough to make a judgment, but they're very similar, I would say.
Wait,
Uh-huh.
is it better to put in editor or viewer better on the 3 choices?
It really depends on what's going on. If it's just someone wants a copy and they're going to make a copy and and make it their own, all you need to do is viewer. I'm going to show you what commenter does. It's sort of an intermediate. If you're truly working on something together, maybe this is a family document, you're documenting your family history, and you want your 2 siblings and you to work together on that document. So when anybody finds something, they can all go in there and update it. Then you'd want all 3 siblings to be editors.
Okay.
So it really depends on the scenario.
Mhm.
Let me go into the commenter and show you how that works. I'll mention this quickly too. You can get a link instead of listing emails. This would be if you're going to share it with a lot of people. I mean, if let's say you're going to share it with 25 people, you don't want to put 25 emails in here. I could get a link and I could post it to my Facebook group, or I could send that link via my email where I've got a distribution list with all 25 people in the distribution list, whatever. So I can share a link or I can just send it via email. Let me show you how I could comment. So let's say I have commenter rights to this document. I can't edit it, but I could do something like go to these ingredients here and click on the add a comment and put in a comment over here. Maybe she had 3 cups of flour, and I could say, I think you really need 4 cups of flour. So I can add that comment, or she could add that comment. And then when I come and look at the document, I can say, okay, Michelle thinks I need to add another cup of flour. You know, I can make that change to the document if I agree with her. I can ignore it if I don't agree with her. But that's what comment does. You can add comments to the document. You can't change the document itself. That makes sense?
Does the editor change the original document too on yours?
If they're an editor, yes, there's a single document out there on Google Drive. So if there are 3 editors, all 3 are changing the same document. There's only one document. If they're commenting, you know, now you could have, and this is where that other class gets into it, you could have 2 editors and 3 commenters. So either one of the editors could accept or reject comments from the 3 commenters. That's where I was saying it gets kind of crazy when you start collaborating with multiple people. I think that is the last thing I plan to cover. Sharing. Yes, we got time for a couple of questions. If anybody has questions we didn't cover or something you want me to go over again.
Wade, if you want to set up the entire document as a table, let's say you want to compare 3 mayoral candidates on their different policies and programs, would you be using format? Is that what? It's not inserting a table, but actually making the entire document a table.
Well, you could use a table, you could insert a table, and there's the 3 candidates, and here's what they're gonna, what you're gonna evaluate them on. So this is John, Mary, Bill, and then, you know, so you could do a table and do it that way. You could also set it up with 3 columns. That gets a little trickier, I think, having multiple columns.
Okay.
So I would probably do it as a table, and there may be some other ways to do it, but tables I think are pretty flexible, but that's just because I'm used to using tables probably instead of using other. Anybody else know of another way to do that?
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Other questions? I got time for 1, maybe 2 more questions if anybody has another question. Okay.
What is the equivalent of Excel in Google?
Sheets.
Sheets. Is there going to be a class on that, do you think?
There is. We already have a Google Sheets class. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And like it's very similar, but some differences. But yeah, if you're familiar with Excel, you'll pick up Sheets very quickly.
Wait. If I find a background, I want to put some wording in that on the page. How do I insert the word in there?
So like you got a picture and you want to put words on top of the picture?
Yes.
I think you can do that. I'm not sure if I can do it on the fly. Let me just look real quickly because we got a minute here to try. Let me just grab something off of here. Oh, I don't want that one. We'll grab the birds again.
I found the background while you were talking about 10 minutes ago. I found a beautiful background. Then I want to put some wording on it.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't see how to do it here. I know how to do it in Word, but I don't. My guess is you can, but I don't know how to do it. I haven't figured that one out.
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh no, that's good. I'm going to look for that and try and figure that one out. If I can find it quickly, I'll put it in the email that comes out after class. But this may be a little bit more search unless anybody else knows how to do it. So I was looking for something called a word box where you can insert a box here and then put words in it. But I don't see anything that looks like that has it. Just look real quickly. Yeah, I don't see it there. Good question. I'll make a note here to look for that.
Thank you anyway.
Okay. Okay, so we do need to move on at this point because we're going to run out of time. So I do want to thank you for attending the class. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some things about Google Docs, and we'll give it a try. And as I've shown you, you don't really have to pick Google Docs or Word. You can use both. It's very easy to move documents back and forth. So I find I still use both. So and it's pretty simple. Then in terms of related, I just want to mention that if you're using social media to share your experiences, and we hope that you are, be sure and tag us on social media, and we'll be glad to like your post. And if you would like to share your experiences, but you don't do social media, you can send us an email, send it to Liz at getsetup.io. That's Liz. She's our marketing director, and she will post it on our social media for you. I mentioned a couple of related classes, that introduction to Google Apps, which goes over everything in that waffle icon. And then sharing and collaborating using Google Tools is where you can learn more about how to collaborate on documents. And it's called Google Tools because luckily it works the same in all three of the Google documents, sheets, doc sheets, and slides, which are Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So it works the same in all three of them. So if you learn how to do it in one, you know how to do it in all of them. And we do have a Google Sheets class and a Google Slides class. Slides is PowerPoint. So let's go to the closing slides, especially if anybody that hasn't done this before. After class, you'll get a email, and there are several sections in that email. The first is the class notes, which will have links to some websites with the same information we covered in class, as well as some related relevant information that we didn't cover in class. If you want to share this class with a friend, that you can send the link to them, either post it in Facebook or send the link via email to people that you want to recommend the class to. There'll also be links to some other classes you might want to take. Just click on that link and you'll go straight to the registration page. There'll be a give feedback link. If you click that, it'll open up a form. Only 2 questions in the feedback. How do you want to rate the class? 1 to 5 stars. Just click on the number of stars. How do you want to rate the guide? Again, 1 to 5 stars. Place for comments for both. Comments aren't required, but they're greatly appreciated. We certainly appreciate your feedback. It's one of the ways we can tell how we're doing. So appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to send us some feedback. If you're enjoying being part of the Get Set Up community, there's several ways you can get even more involved. We're trying to get some interest groups started for some of the tech classes. So if you would be interested in participating in or even hosting an interest group. So for instance, if you wanted to host an interest group around Google Docs, we could help you set that up. If there's a new class you'd like to see us teach, or maybe you belong to an organization that you think would be a good partner for us, or if you want a copy of the recording, any of those things, help at getsetup.io is how you get in touch with us and let us know. The last link in the email is View Schedule. And if you click that, that takes you to our website where you can book another class. A couple of things to mention here is right in the middle of the page is View My Complete Schedule. This is a shortcut to your schedule, classes you've booked. When it's time to take the class, you can launch the class from here. If something comes up and you need to cancel a class, you can click here to cancel the class. All you have to do is put, why you're canceling, schedule conflict, and it will cancel the class and open that seat up for someone else. If you're looking for a particular class or type of class, I found the easiest way to do it is to use this keyword search. So if you're looking for that collaboration class, you just start spelling collaboration. If you're like me, about 5 letters is the most I could put in there. I don't spell well, but they're sharing and collaborating. You can click there and it'll take you to the link for that class, which is going to be May 18th tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, if you want to learn how to share and collaborate. If there are a guide or several guides that you like and want to see what they're going to be teaching for the next week or two, put the guide's name here instead of a class name. and hit enter. It'll show you their classes in chronological order, starting with the next class. This is what I'm going to be teaching tomorrow morning. Going through about 2 weeks is about as far out as we book. So if you come back and look later, it'll be different classes. So if there is a class that you want to take, you can just click on that class and book that class. Last thing I'll show you is we've added something new to the booking. So if you book a class, you can add it to your calendar. That's been there for a while. You can add it to your Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, Yahoo Calendar, or Apple Calendar. But you can also now invite a friend. So if you're going to take a class and you have a friend or two that you think would enjoy the class and you want to be in the same class together, invite a friend, put their email here and click send email. Or you can get a link if you want to invite several people. You can copy the link, paste it in your email, and email it to multiple people. Questions about navigating the website or booking classes? All right. If not, I'm going to get you out of here 1 minute early, get a cup of coffee before your next class. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed the class and hope I see you again in another class real soon. Thanks for coming. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much, Wade.
Bye now.
Bye.